Okay, now that we've taken a look at what the ACT looks like, let's talk about the best way to prepare for it. Effective ACT preparation has 3 steps. Step 1 is that you'll need to brush up on some basic skills. On math and English especially, there are formulas and grammar rules that you'll have to review. Later on, we're going to discuss some of each of these, but they're all discussed in more detail in your Cracking the ACT book. Step 2 is that you'll need to take some full-length practice tests. I know, but look, the ACT is almost 4 hours of bubbling and writing, and there is nothing that can simulate taking a 4-hour-long test like taking 4-hour-long tests. Cracking the ACT comes with full-length practice tests, so make sure to include them as part of your preparation. Step 3 is that you'll need to learn some general test-taking strategies. We're about to outline a number of different techniques that you can implement so that you can change the way that you approach the test. So let's look at some of these. The first thing we need to know about the ACT is that we actually use the structure of the test against it. On a standardized test such as the ACT, we know that one of the answers has to be right. So how does this help? Okay, pop quiz hotshot. What is the capital of Malawi? Any idea? Well, what if I were to give you some options? I have A, Paris, B, Milan, C, Cairo, D, Lilongwe, and E, New York City. Have a better clue? The answer is D, Lilongwe. You know that only one answer is right, but 4 answers are wrong. So they're easier to spot. Find them and eliminate them, and you're down to the correct answer. As Sherlock Holmes once said, once you eliminate the impossible, whatever remains, no matter how improbable, must be the truth. This is what's called process of elimination, or POE. It's one of the most powerful tools you can use on the ACT, because the more wrong answers you can get rid of, the more accurate you'll be, and the more questions you'll get right. So now you know there are different ways you can approach these questions. So how do you make up your mind on what to do? One of the most important things that you need to know about the ACT is that it's a speeded exam. What does this mean? Well, it means that there are more questions on the test than you have time to answer without rushing yourself. It's exactly what the test writers want. Because if you try to answer everything, then you're going to either run out of time or make a bunch of careless errors. Now, I'd like to introduce you to the art of judicious abandonment, or knowing when to let go. It's what medical professionals call triage. Triage is about making a decision on which patients you can help and which ones aren't going to make it. I know it's kind of morbid, but the same type of thinking applies to the ACT. Now, within a few seconds, you should be able to determine, looking at a question, yes, I know how to do this problem. It'll take me a minute, go for it. Or, yeah, I know how to do this problem. It'll take me about 6 minutes. Skip. Or, don't know what this problem is about, don't even know if it's English. Skip. There are questions on the ACT that are designed to waste your time, as if you had time to waste. If you diagnose a question as one that you're not going to do, then skip it and move on to the next question. However, since there's no guessing penalty on the ACT, make sure to come back and make a guess. But guess smart. Use POE to get rid of all those answers that you know are wrong. After all, did you know what the capital of Malawi was just a moment ago? No, but you knew it wasn't Paris. All right, so now we've talked about how to handle individual questions. So let's talk about how to treat entire tests. The next thing you need to know about the ACT is that unlike many other standardized tests, you don't get penalized for guessing. So if you get a question right, you get a point. If you get a question wrong, nothing happens. What does this mean for you? Well, if you can POE and get rid of some answers, great. If you can't, then make a guess and move on. You cannot leave any questions blank on the ACT. If you're running out of time and you've answered all the questions you can, go back and make sure you've bubbled in for every single question on that test. All right, so I have decided that I'm going to run the marathon in 2 months. Mind you, I haven't run past the block since I was 13, but tomorrow is my first day of training. So should I go out and run 26.2 miles? No, of course not. First of all, I'm not going to make it. And if by some miracle I did, I'd probably seriously injure myself. The same goes for the ACT. Now, you might want to eventually end up with a score of a 36, but if you're right now scoring an average score of 21, trying to get 100% is the worst thing you could possibly do. Remember that the ACT is a speeded exam, which means there's more questions than you have time for. So if you're trying to get everything, then you're gonna rush through and make a bunch of careless mistakes. The best thing for you to do in order to improve your ACT score is to slow down. Instead of trying to get everything, pick and choose the questions that are easiest for you and triage the others. The test writers want you to approach the ACT the same way you approach tests in school. But the ACT is nothing like these tests. Think of it this way. An average ACT score is about a 21, which translated into percents is about a 55%. If you got a 55% in school, you get a nice solid F. On the other hand, if you focus on just 2/3 of the questions on each test, you'd score about a 25, which is a score good enough to get into most colleges in this country. So imagine that, 66% getting you a D in school on the ACT is gonna get you into college. All right, so let's recap all the strategies we've just learned. First, by using process of elimination to get rid of wrong answers, you can avoid partial answers and improve your accuracy. Second, remember to cultivate the art of judicious abandonment. Know when to triage a question so don't waste any time. Third, remember, do not leave any questions blank. Even if you don't know the answer, just guess and bubble in. And fourth, pace yourself so that you use your time as effectively as you can. All right, so now we know some of the pieces of the test. You have some general test taking strategies under your belt. So let's talk about each one of the tests one at a time.